It's synchronicity. I have been surrounded by interviews with people who claim to either be off planet or ambassadors to some alien force that they were originally off planet and sent. They're from Venus, they're from Mars, they're from Saturn, they're from Lyra. They've been here 25 years, 100 years, a couple of years. We are influxed with these aliens, these possibly illegal aliens that should be deported, but according to American law, to someplace. I've been on the fence in believing them or not, being as when I was younger, my father told me I was a walk-in and all. I'm on the fence about that too, incidentally. And there's just something been nagging me about these claims. And I've been trying, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt because, they probably are telling the truth. There's been a lot of fantastical things I've seen. And, give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be telling the truth. But, plus there's the fact that I've got a lifetime of people telling me fantastic stuff when I was more gullible so they could get away with things and steal things and use me. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just falling back on that. And then tonight I was listening to an interview that was very, very helpfully supplied to me. I'm 5 minutes and 39 seconds into this interview, and I suddenly realized what's nagging me. Where are these aliens' accents? It goes like this, okay? This is where learning how language works falls into play. And if you haven't had the opportunity to take Linguistics 101, as I fortunately did get to do, or even have had a lifetime of being curious about language, which I fortunately was, go watch My Fair Lady, if nothing else, and learn a little bit about how these things work. If you're from another country and you're learning language the way, say, someone from Mexico does, you're going to make little arrows, you're going to have, little things like, rolling your R's, instead of saying rutabaga ruffles, you're going to say rutabaga ruffle. Even if you get the language down almost perfect, unless you're going around faking a perfect Southern or Wisconsin accent, there's going to be something in there, a tiny telltale, usually around your A's, your O's, and your U's, that say that English either is not your first language or you're speaking from a region that people have not heard before, and they're going to hear that subtle difference. Deanna Troi from Star Trek, the way she spoke, that was a big point to her character, was that she had that very, very faint difference because she was a Betazoid. And I don't really remember the story of how it goes. And I'm listening to these interviews, and they're Americans or Canadians in a couple of cases, but Southern enough, where it's that North American accent. And I'm not hearing a person who learned American English. I'm hearing, in one case, I was hearing a Southern American accent, and our accent, us Southern Americans, we have a pretty distinct accent. 2, there are cultural mannerisms. There are things that people don't even realize are cultural mannerisms. For example, you don't normally hear me do it because I cut it out a lot, but the sound that is a North American cultural mannerism. It is a thinking sound. Other places have a different sound. I cannot tell you them off the top of my head. I could just tell you I studied the phenomenon in linguistics. There are other things. For example, ask me a hard question. What color is that apple? Oh, God. Believe it or not, that is a cultural mannerism. Ouch is a cultural mannerism. These are all little things that make you distinct from Vladivostok over there in Russia or Shiro over there in Japan. And so I'm listening to these people that are claiming to have only been here like half a lifetime, and they act like they were born and raised here. They've got things that you pick up growing up going on in their behavior, and that's a red flag to me. I mean, my story is pretty fantastic, and my story is pretty freaking out there. And, you know, people are like, well, you know, maybe you're not real or whatever. And, you know, the trick with me is I don't give a flying fuck if you believe me or not. But then again, I'm also not going around trying to tell you messages of peace and love and light and white lighterness and getting. And I realized that's why I'm having a hard time believing these people, is because they are coming off as earthlings, as North American continent earthlings. They're not coming off as immigrants. They're not coming off as anything. And you can go, oh, well, they're so high advanced that they learned our language so perfectly. If that's the case, then why aren't they using perfect English? Which, incidentally, someone who has been taught how to speak the language properly would do that. Okay. And as well, you know, they learn how to you know, they decided to adapt, and they decided they're going to act like Georgians. Okay, so they're talking like a Georgian, and then because of the way culture spreads around and the way communication is this day, next thing I know, they'll say something with a Californian accent, or they'll do something that, you know, no. If you're going to tell somebody that you're from outer space, at least be convincing, at least try. You know, come on, try. You're acting. Can't you be better actors than this? Sit down, develop your character. Think about it. You know, there are character sheets all over the internet for writers and actors and improv artists, so they can develop their characters and get more detailed than this. You should find them and go through them a little bit, because right now, for someone who is even mildly educated, you're just not real, and you're not going to be. But all jokes aside, I realized that that was why the red flags with me. Now, I'm not saying that these people are fake, because as I said before, they might be telling the truth, okay? I haven't talked to these people in person. You know, I haven't said, hey, you got your beam ship parked out back. Can we go get a gallon of milk with it? You know, my car's almost out of gas, and had them find excuses. You know, there has been no circumstance, you know, illustrating to me that they are lying. So I'm not saying they're lying, but in the quest for truth, here is just, you know, this video is just highlighting one little thing, you know, for you guys to be aware of in your quest for truth, because let's face it, there are a lot of charlatans out there, and sometimes they're not in it for the money. They're just in it for the attention.